Richard?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. I'm changing presenter to you.
Okay. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. All right. Let me go to, I need to see, I don't need sharing. I need the top. How do I get to the broadcast?
I started it. I think we're good to go.
Okay. Are we live?
Yeah, we're good.
And it's 10:30. All right,
Do it.
everybody. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Marathon Lead Generation and Conversion with MAPS coach Richard Schulman. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and you will automatically receive the webinar recording via email afterwards. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. Again, fasttrack@kw.com. That's all for me. Richard, take it away.
Thank you, Rachel, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited to present to you a Marathon Lead Generation. It's a long-time class that I've been doing. I love doing it. I'm actually here in Austin at Keller Williams International, and I just did a private mastermind yesterday with Gary Keller and 200 or 300 of the top agent teams in the company. So a lot of good content from there. I'll be sharing some of that. There'll be more on my Facebook page as well. But let's jump right into the webinar. I'm really excited to talk about the only thing that matters in real estate, which is meeting people in person, getting face-to-face with potential clients. So when we talk about, what do we need to do to succeed? What fancy, shiny object do I need to succeed? I think what we need to all understand, and what Gary talks about a lot and for years, is the only thing that matters is building relationships with people. And as Gary said, building a moat around that database, right? Building a database, meeting with those people, protecting it, nurturing it, and keeping your competitors away from it. Don't let the technology piece distract you from the key point, which is that we're a face-to-face business, and the technology augments that. So let me know if that all makes sense. We can talk more about that as well. And let's jump right in. We're about 25 minutes now. I'm going to go over a little bit about who I am, and I'll go over some of the content of the class so you guys get a taste for it. And of course, I hope that you sign up for it. This is the best one we've done. We've put together about 50% more material than the previous launches, so we're really excited to present that all to you. Here's all about me. I've been at KW 12 years now. I love the training. I'm here in Austin about 4 times a year for various training. Family Reunion 9 times in a row, Mega Camp a bunch of times. Pretty much every class that KW has to offer. Of course, Bold, just about everything that they have. In 2007, I joined KW. I did none of the training. Didn't think I needed training because I was doing $4 million in sales, not commission in sales. And I thought that was pretty good. And, I got into KW, and last year my team did $140 million in sales. And a lot of that was leveraged through my team. So there's a lot of good stuff that I've been able to learn from training. And so one of my honors is to bring that training back to you guys. What have I learned? What's the best practices for doing this? So there's a few things that I'm doing. We actually just crested this week $800 million in lifetime sales. We've got about 15 people on the team. Got a pretty good-sized profit share. I'm involved in a few other businesses as well. And the key thing about all those businesses, and in back one slide, everything on here, whether you're prospecting for a client, hold on, is this better? Let me adjust the headset. Can you guys hear me better now? I got a note that it was muffled. Maybe that's just how I sound. Whether you're prospecting for a client to buy or sell a home, or you're prospecting for talent to work on your team, or you're prospecting for rental property, it's all the same. It's all a lead generation and conversion business, right? Everything that you need to do in your business world, real estate or not real estate, whatever it is, it all starts with generating leads and then converting those leads, right? Now, when we say generating a lead, what I want to define that is, there's some varying definitions of lead. So we'll just say lead as any information in your database. when I say generate a lead, it means collect someone's information and put it into your database for a purposeful long-term follow-up. So you go out after this call, you go to lunch, you meet someone, you go to a sports club that you're doing, any activity that you're doing, you get a referral, you do an open house, you door knock, anything that you're doing, you meet someone, you get their information so that you can follow up with them for a business conversation. That is a lead. That's lead generation. Lead generation is very simple. Everyone in the world is a potential lead for you, or at least in the state that you're licensed in. And we know for a fact that pretty much everyone wants to own real estate, right? So at the minimum, pretty much everyone's a potential buyer. Now, whether they're motivated and qualified, different story. We'll get to that. Pretty much everyone out there is a potential buyer or seller of real estate. And of course, we know that every home has to get sold at some point, so every owner of a home is a potential seller. We need to put those people in our database. The new command software will allow you to connect with those people more efficiently and more thoroughly, which is incredible. But you need to go meet with them. Command's not going to go meet with your clients for you. Conversion is the conversion for me of any lead into any appointment, right? I'm very broad in this respect. Some of you may be in coaching or have been in coaching prior, and you're trying to track appointments as only listing appointments or buyer meetings. I'm happy for you to do any appointment, right? I want any appointment. I want you meeting face-to-face with people because that's where business happens. Myself, I'm very big on coffee dates. And you can see there, I talked with Gary at last Mega Camp about coffee dates. And that's my strategy of texting through my database top to bottom over and over again, inviting my Mets, my not Mets, my friends, my past clients, my future clients to coffee with me. Because by building those strong social relationships, I am able to generate long-term relationships with them. And when the client is ready to buy or sell a home, they come to me. Right? That makes sense? So I say here everything starts with lead generation and conversion. What we have is everything stops without lead generation and conversion. And that's a real key point, that the minute you stop prospecting for appointments, the minute you stop growing your database is the minute your business starts shrinking. Now we're on a long scale business, right? We at least are working in 90-day cycles, but a lot of our clients are on 10-year cycles. And the minute you stop following up with those clients is the minute that they start meeting other realtors. And that's great for me because my team has a great follow-up plan. We collect a lot of business from realtors who gave up on it. But for you in building your businesses, what you need to understand is that your job day in, day out is to get on the phone and connect with your database to meet with them in person. Now, Gary says we should be meeting 11 people a week, right? Any type of appointment. Any type of appointment, 11 people a week is the minimum standard for success in this business. So write that down. If you learn nothing else, if you just focus on 11 appointments, you will have success in real estate. I can promise you that. You don't need a great listing appointment presentation. You don't need a great buyer presentation. If you can meet with enough people, your business will succeed. Now, you layer on top a good presentation, a good service, of course, you're going to increase your business many folds over that. Now, here's the challenge I want to put down for you guys. I'd like for you guys to really do this, take this seriously. This is a really important challenge. Now, I have a new agent, Julie. She just started. And what we've been doing is ramping up her phone calls. So we did one hour a day. I said, do 1 hour a day until you do a perfect hour. For me, a perfect hour is 25 dials in an hour by hand. I know a lot of you are on auto dialers, and I would like all of you to be on auto dialers at some point. But I get a lot of pushback. A lot of my agents are telling me, I'm just getting 17 dials now. I'm getting 20. I tried my best, et cetera, et cetera. My new agent with no bad habits is doing 30 to 35 manual dials per hour and 7 to 11 contacts per hour. I had her take the class twice. We sat down and did everything. 1 hour, all the numbers ready to go, 7 to 11 contacts per hour, every hour for the last 3 weeks. We did 1 hour, then we did 2 hours. On Monday, we're going to start doing 3 hours a day of dialing. And 3 hours a day times 30 dials is over 100 dials and something like 30 contacts, right? That's a good day of lead generation and conversion. That will lead to appointments. So I'd like to challenge you. You guys don't know, if you're not tracking your numbers, what your results are. A lot of times when I ask a new agent, what are your contact numbers? What are your dial numbers? They don't know, they guess. And what we find out is when you really track, if you're making 16 dials an hour, if you're making 4 contacts an hour, you're cheating yourself, right? So the first thing I want to do is track activity. I want you guys to be really working on increasing your dial numbers. We go over a lot of strategies on how to do this. A lot of it just focus and plan like anything. but we really want to start with the beginning, right? Start with the basics. Does anyone know the story of John Wooden and what the first thing John Wooden would do at basketball practice? John Wooden, if you don't know, won, I believe, 11 basketball championships at UCLA in the 60s and 70s. Anyone know? You can pop in the question bar if anyone knows. So the first thing that John Wooden did is he taught people how to put their socks on. And I always thought that was a very interesting approach because, of course, we all, Holly says tie shoes. Holly, on this call, I used to tell people to tie shoes, and then someone corrected me to put your socks on, then tie your shoes. So I'll give you full credit, Holly. That's pretty good. I said for years to tie shoes, and then someone corrected me, and I realized I was mistaken. If you don't know how to put your socks on, right, you get blisters. You can't run as fast, right? If you don't know how to make 25 plus dials per hour, if you don't know how to make 8 contacts per hour every hour and 1 to 2 appointments every hour, nothing else matters, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to work on how do we make more calls. If we make more calls, we make more appointments. Then what we're going to do is we're going to work on making more appointments, right? So the first part of the class is really heavy on the activity piece. And the second part of the class is really heavy on the conversion piece. That's the only 2 things you need. It's that simple. We're going to spend an unbelievable amount of time focusing on only those 2 things to make sure that you are as close to perfect as you can be. Now here's a real example of what we did. In 2017, my number 1 salesperson left. My number 2 salesperson went on maternity leave for a year. My number 4 salesperson decided to go part-time. And my sales manager and I had a miscommunication, as it were, and we got a new sales manager. We revamped all of our training, and we doubled down. We stopped training on everything except for this topic. We only train on lead generation and conversion. Now we're training on lead generation and conversion. Last year, losing easily a third of our production from the year before. We went from 125 million in sales to 138 million in sales, with mostly new agents, at least new to our team, some new to real estate. Now, everything that we did was 100% based on this content. Now, I always had the content, but we were very focused on, let's spend 2 months working on our listing presentation. And what we realized was, if you're not getting listing presentations, it doesn't matter how good your listing presentation is, right? If you're not getting buyer meetings, it doesn't matter how good your buyer meeting is. But what we did realize, and this is the sincere thing that you have to understand, is if you go on enough listing appointments, you're going to get some number of them signed, because what Gary says, which is really right, and it took me a while to realize, is that people work with people they like. And so me as a top producing agent in the LA area, I ask, if I do a training, I ask them, who do you think is my number 1 competition? And people might say another agent in the area they know or something else. My number 1 competition is what I would call the underqualified friend of the client, right? On a listing presentation, my competition is not the other mega agent going on the appointment or maybe the area farm expert. My competition is the wife's brother, is the coworker, whatever it is. It's a friend who's less qualified than me to sell the house, and that's who I lose to. That's if you're the mega agent, that's something you need to work on, and if you're not the mega agent, that is your opportunity, right? Let me know if that all made sense. Now we're here in May. I mean, it's basically June now. We need to start thinking about what's the second half of our year going to look like. Now these numbers are for a full year, but if you got up an additional 10 dials per hour on your 2 hours a day minimum of lead gen time, you're looking at something like 2,500 more dials per year without working harder. See, one thing I want to do is I don't want you to work harder, because I think we all work a fair amount. Hopefully you're working a fair amount. I don't think success is going to be in working harder. And in fact, we would tell you that it's cheating yourself. Doubling your hours is not the solution. Doubling your skill set is the solution. So there's the class. We got more content. Don't worry. The class is ongoing. We've got a lot of material. It's going to be going on for the next several months of webinars with me. We have some pre-recorded material. We have some written material. It's a full package plan, start to finish, to get you into contact and into appointment with more people. Now let's go through some more content. Now the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think about the calling time that you do. I don't know if you guys watched basketball. The NBA Finals were on last night. Think about the NBA Finals game, right? The championship game. Do you think those players are 100% focused all day, all week on the activity of just playing basketball for 3 hours? Absolutely. I guarantee you that their sleep, their diet, their activity during the day was solely focused on being ready to be peak performing last night. They play tonight or tomorrow night, and I guarantee you between the end of the last game until the start of the next game, all they will do is focus on is preparation for the game, making sure they're eating right, making sure they're stretching right, they're practicing right. I want you to treat your calling time, your 2 to 3 hours per day minimum of calling time, as your NBA finals, right? Now, if you don't know about sports, don't worry. But we want to focus on this is the most important thing that you do is you sit down and make your calls. So you want to be purposeful, you want to be calendared, you want to stand around or walk, right? Like my whole morning was based around this call, right? Everything I did this morning was based on eating, so I'd be ready for this call, making sure I had my coffee ready, making sure all my computer equipment was ready to do this call. Everything was prepared for this call, so I can give you the best call that I can possibly do. When you do your calling time, it needs to be the same way. It can't be an afterthought. It can't be, let me get 20 minutes of calling in. It's got to be, I'm going to get to the office, I'm going to have a coffee, I'm going to close my door, I'm going to have my calling numbers ready, and I'm going to dial for the next hour to 2 hours without stopping at 100% speed, right? Now, that may sound real simple to you. We're not doing it. I guarantee you, any one of you, we would come and observe. We're not doing it to the degree that we need to do it. My new agent, Julie, that I mentioned, when she tells me 33 dials, she's tracking that. She's tracking that against what she did the Tuesday before that. She's tracking that against last week's average. She's making sure she had an off day where she only had 6 contacts 1 hour, and we talked about what we could do to increase that, right? Now she's making her dials. The next step for her is increasing her appointments, right? Now, part of it's a training issue, right? Part of it's we can just train and plan to be better, but the other part of it is goals. Now, this is not a goal-setting class. There's a lot of great goal-setting content at KW, and if you need help goal-setting your business planning, you could even do a second half business plan right now. Your team leader is ideally qualified to do a business plan with you. Or if you're on a team, your team leader, your sales team leader, your mega agent rainmaker is ideally qualified to sit down with you and do a plan. Now, let me short circuit that by saying we can sit here and business plan. We can talk about our big why, but that's not the point of this call. There's other material for that within KW. What I want to do is I want to make sure that you guys are thinking about each call granularly. So I came up a long time ago with this, and I actually sat down and figured out what each call, and I think based on the number of dials I want to do, if I wanted to make $100,000 net income to me in a year, each call was worth about $8. Every time I pressed dial, that green button on my phone, that was worth $8. Now, if I want to make more than that, that number goes up. Then I sort of arbitrarily decided that each dial was worth $100 to me. So what I'd like for you guys to do is decide what you think you're worth and work from those numbers. If you want to make $100,000 this year, then each dial is probably worth about $8 to $16 for you, depending on how you do the math. But that'll really change your focus on, do I want to get 33 dials out at $8 a pop, or do I want to get 25 dials out at $8 a pop? That's a $64 difference to you. And over time, the math holds up very well because over time, we find that these numbers are very predictable in any market, in any price point. It's at any skill level, we find these numbers of dials, contacts, appointments are very, very consistent. Now, I put a sign up in my office. I recommend that you do as well. If you don't have an office, you can put a sign up on your laptop. You can put it anywhere that you can see it. Each dial is worth to me whatever it is. And the next time you donate those last 6 dials out, remember what that 6 dials is worth to you. Now let's change gears a bit. What's the point of a phone call? The point of a phone call is to make a point, right? This is another big aha. Now all of you are sitting there saying, well, I know that, Richard, right? I don't need to be on this webinar to understand that. Again, I guarantee you, if I watch you make calls for an hour, you're not closing for appointments. Every call you need to be closing for an appointment, right? That the only reason that we call people is to make an appointment. So one of the things I talk about in the class is we limit our calls to 3 minutes. Why? Because we're not here to have an appointment on the phone. You know, this is not Redfin. The Redfin model is the appointment by text. That's not best for the client. It's not best for you. If your clients have questions, what they need is a face-to-face. They want to sit down with you. They want to have a meeting with you. Give you a quick example. I have an agent on my team, Mona, and we did a listing appointment together, and she had prospected the seller, and we sat down, and the seller said, I don't know why we're meeting face-to-face. You kept telling me we had to meet, so I'm meeting, but tell me why we're meeting face-to-face. And I said, listen, we're old school. We want to sit down with you. We want to look you in the eye. We want to shake your hand and tell you how we're going to sell your home. And by the end of the meeting, he said, I really appreciate that. He said, all the other agents are just telling me the price and commission over the phone. I said, well, when we sell your house, we're not going to just tell people over the phone what the house is. We're going to go show them the house. So the point is we want to get those face-to-face appointments. There's a lot of value in them. So what I want to do is give you a few scripts to increase your appointment conversion. Now, this is just sort of a little bit of what we do in the class. I spend a lot more time on this. I'm trying to cover a pretty good amount because I do want to show you a lot of value in this call. I appreciate you taking some time up to hear me. I would like you, of course, to sign up for the class, but either way, here's some good material for you. Write these down. I'm real big on taking notes, so make sure you're taking notes. Now, I use what I call a tell, don't ask scripting. It's just the idea that instead of asking for an appointment or instead of hoping that the client asks for an appointment, we're just going to tell them we're going to have an appointment, right? First, speak to the lender, then get pre-approved, and then I'll meet with you and we can tour homes. It's a very directive statement, and because the way most people respond to questions and statements, it really conditions and programs your client, your prospect, to respond appropriately. Here's the next one. Now, you guys have all heard variations of this script. If you're not executing the script exactly the right way, you're going to get the wrong result. The best thing for me to do is come to your home and give you a personalized evaluation. That's not a question, that's a statement. The question is Tuesday or Wednesday better, right? Now, by making the question is Tuesday or Wednesday better, I'm changing the entire conversation. If I say, do you want me to come to your house to give you a price? The answer is yes or no. We want to stay away from yes or no questions. If I say, do you want to meet Tuesday or Wednesday? That's a very simple alternative choice close. The prospect is thinking about is Tuesday or Wednesday better? Or it could be mornings or afternoons or weekdays or weekends, doesn't matter, right? But I'm making the question the time of the meeting, not whether we're having a meeting. It's a very small change in scripting. It's very powerful. Here's the last one. We do about 2 hours of this in the actual program. So you'll get a lot more in depth on the sort of the mechanics behind it and a lot more of the script part of it. And here's another one. All the same family of scripting, right? We'll take a look at that house, and I can show you a couple more right after. What time is best for you? It's a statement followed by a question, and the question is not a yes or no about meeting. The question is when we're going to meet, right? Now, here's a good one we're using for market script for a shift. I believe that all of you are in a shift. And if you're not in a shift, you may just not know that you're in a shift. If you use this script and someone does not want to meet with you, guess what? They are not a motivated real estate buyer or seller. If I could show you an opportunity in today's market, would you be able to meet tomorrow or Friday? Now tell me, who's going to say no to that, right? Now you better have an opportunity, by the way. You better have something to show them, but if you're a good realtor, you have something interesting to show them, right? Use that script, you will convert appointments. Let me give you a brief overview of the call. We're going to work first, like I said, on increasing our outbound call volume. Then we're going to work on conversion rate. We do a lot of habit building. I'm very big on habit building. One thing, power of habit, atomic habits. We do a lot of habit building because all this is automatic programmable events, right? I'm very intense about my time. I don't want to waste my time either by following up with poor leads or by losing good leads by not following with them enough. So we have a very detailed, thorough follow-up plan. And everything that we do on the call is what my team does, right? So I teach this to my team. My team all takes the class. They do the exact same things, right? Like I said, we did $140 million in sales last year, and pretty proud of that. So the call is ongoing. We have some pre-recorded stuff for you to listen to for your homework, and then we have live webinars for review. We have a Facebook group that you can join that will give you some information, and I'm available also to you as well to help you. I'd love to have you on. It's $149. You can sign up now. You'll get an email from after the sign-up link. I'd love to have you on. I can take maybe one question if you guys have it. If not, we have another webinar right after this. Any questions, guys? Okay, great. Thank you guys for jumping on the call with me. You'll get a copy of this, a link to this recorded webinar emailed to you as well. I really hope to see you on the call, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.